congratulate the authors. That's what this is all about. Congratulations and celebration. You are now published. So,
I too would like to welcome everyone, and I thank all the students for the wonderful work. And thank you to you parents, because you're part of this too, a very special part. I'd like to introduce some guests that we have this evening. Our local author, Henry Grampiato. Henry, we'll hear a little bit from Henry a while later. Kathy McSweeney, who's the president of the Shrewsbury Rotary Club. Kathy? Oh, I think she's outside cleaning up. And Chris Gates, who's the president of the Worcester Rotary Club.
Barbara and I were both on the committee to make this all happen. And the other members of our committee are Judy Merriman, Julie Parent, Bob Mangan, Judy Dean, Art Dobson, Owen Russell, and Betsy Eisenman. And we really want to thank all of them for participating with us. I'd like to take a minute just to tell you about the project. The idea is to encourage student authors to write and have their work published. So we've accomplished that. Tonight's event gives them a chance to meet and socialize with their peers from other schools. And hopefully that worked well for everybody also. Hopefully this whole process will help build self-esteem. I didn't put it in our script, I didn't put the numbers, but we actually had 62 student authors who were published this year. And the schedule was that 42 of those would be here. I think a couple did not arrive, but that gives you a rough feel for the numbers, which would be interesting.
We also want to thank the 7 sponsors who helped to fund this event tonight. The organization Because of Love, Biseglia, Stedman, and Feudemann, a CPA firm in Worcester. Mr. Biseglia is a Worcester Rotarian. The Central One Federal Credit Union. Is Owen here? Thank you, Owen. Cornerstone Bank, Bob Bankin. Thank you, Bob. Worcester Rotarian Elaine Doherty, who couldn't be here tonight. Worcester Rotarian Gary McConnell. Gary, thank you. Satya and Shiva Mitra, who are also Worcester Rotarians. The Worcester Railers hockey team, and Anonymous. We thank you all for your support. I wanted to take a few minutes to tell you about Rotary. Not sure how many of you know anything about Rotary, but we are a service organization, and actually we're the oldest service organization in the world. We were founded in 1905 by a man named Paul Harris in Chicago, Illinois. In 1912, the Worcester Rotary Club was founded. We are the 6th oldest Rotary Club in the world. In 1922, Rotary became Rotary International, and now we have over 1.2 million Rotarians in 200 countries in the world. So we're a big organization. And Rotary is a service organization, and our motto is service above self. We go out into our communities and into the world and perform various service projects. And Rotary is open to young people as well. High schoolers, you may have an Interact Club in your high school, and the Interact Clubs do volunteer services. I don't think there's any Interact Clubs in any of the schools represented here. The closest one I know about is at Bay Path Technical High School in Charlton. There's also Rotaract clubs in the colleges. The closest Rotaract club to our area is at WPI. And they do a STEAM project at one of the after-school programs in the city of Worcester. Everybody know what STEAM is? Science, technology, engineering, art, and math. And then there's a RILA program, which is a leadership program for students who are completing their sophomore years of high school. They go away for a weekend and do all kinds of leadership exercises and projects. And so it's usually the end of June, and so if next year you're going to be a sophomore, you might talk to your guidance office about maybe becoming a RILA student. And there is also various exchange programs that Rotary sponsors for high school students and further above. As I mentioned before, Rotary is about providing service in communities and around the world. Our areas of focus, promoting peace, fighting disease, providing clean water, saving mothers and children, supporting education, and growing local communities. The trees that you see as you drive down Shrewsbury Street in Worcester that are planted in the middle of the median strip, the Worcester Rotary Club donated those trees to the city. We serve meals to the children at the Boys and Girls Club. We ring the Salvation Army bell during the holidays. This past year, we supported the building of a new playground at the Canterbury Street School in Worcester, an area, a neighborhood that has no green space and no place for children in the area to play. The Shrewsbury Rotary Club sponsors a recycle day where people not only can get rid of things that they don't want anymore, but it raises some money that the Shrewsbury Club can then give back into the community. They do things like help provide scholarships and support the schools with things like playground equipment and refurbishing the high school athletic fields. They provide dinners for senior citizens who can come to the plays here at the high school. They support Literacy Day by reading to second graders, and they support the Worcester County Food Bank. So Rotary is out there in your community. As I mentioned, all Rotary clubs, most of them anyway, provide scholarships to students. And our book project, this project, is a Rotary service project. And you may ask, how do we finance all this? We don't have a lot of money, but we fundraise. That's what we do. We fundraise and then give back to the community. So if anyone has any other questions about Rotary or whatever, please see any of us after the meeting. We'd be glad to fill you in. Okay, thank you. But we're here to honor the student authors tonight, and I'd like to call up the people representing the schools to introduce the students. Kat Potter, would you like to come up from Abby Kelly Foster Charter Public Schools?
So what I'm going to have you do is when I call your name, please stand. So Hannah Abby. Annette Benza. Olivia Mathot. Amy Ho. Jesse Appia. Jinan Brancalo. Sarah Heil. Erin Dennis. Gianna Rodriguez. Rachel Lamptey. And Colleen Agor.
Thank you. Sally Maloney. Sally's the principal at Doherty High School, and she will introduce the students that are here from Doherty.
Thank you. Justin Hallett. Grace Morrow. Evangelia Karaboulis. Michelle Nguyen. Caroline Over. David Chesler. Olivia Durham. Sarah Forrester. And Stacy Ford. And Katie Roman couldn't be here tonight, but congratulations to her.
So we have an assistant principal here from Grafton. Carla Evers, would you come up and introduce your students, please?
Good evening. So I don't have a list of all of our students, so what I'm going to have you do, Grafton High School students, is please stand to be recognized. I'm so proud of all of you. My Grafton High School students, could you please stand? We have two students who are reading in a little while. We have Zeta and Davina who are going to be reading in a little bit. So congratulations.
Thank you, Carla. And last but not least, our host school. Nick Spillane is an English teacher here in Shrewsbury High School, and he's been the coordinator for this project in Shrewsbury, so he's deeply involved. Nick, would you please introduce the authors from Shrewsbury?
Good evening. So Shrewsbury High School, our students who are here tonight are Aaliyah Larkin, if you would stand as well. Amber Brushwell. Ashley Thomas. Ashley Gerard. Judy Antilowitz. Emma Purple. Erica Schechter. Anna Larrabee. Jackie Lee. Jamie Way. Catherine Tillich. Amanda Venkatesan. Nidhi Ramesh. Rita Ambrose. Skylar Lipka. And Kathleen Mohan. And Caroline Martin could not be here tonight, but she's actually the designer of our cover this year. So she's missed, but we thank her very much for her contribution.
You may have noticed that there were several students serving dinner out there, and we want to thank Jamie Way for arranging that. She's the president of the English Honor Society here at Shrewsbury, and she organized the students to come. So, I get to introduce our keynote speaker. Henry Grampietro is a lifelong resident of Shrewsbury. He's a 1968 graduate of Shrewsbury High School. He attended Quinsigamond Community College and received his Bachelor of Arts degree in education with a minor in history from Worcester State University. He has owned and operated Grampietro Photography since 1981. He's currently a substitute teacher here. In fact, he says he taught here today. And at Assabet Valley Regional Technical High School. Henry is the author of the new book, Dad's at Work and Mom Can't Drive. It's about his childhood here in Shrewsbury. It was published last year, 2017, and he has another book in the works. Henry, please say a few words.
hear me? I don't need the microphone, do I? My wife tells me that all the time. First of all, I want to thank the Rotary, Worcester and Shrewsbury, for having me here. This is a real thrill for me. I can't believe that you actually anybody want to hear me speak. You know, I substitute teach here during the daytime, and I try to tell the kids every once in a while a couple stories about when we grew up and how things were. And they always say to me, you know, Mr. G, we wish it was like that now. And I said, well, you know, it wasn't perfect back then. It's not perfect now. But maybe if we could combine what was perfect back then with what's perfect now, we'd have a pretty good society. But I want to say one thing about the Rotary. When I was in high school, we had a real good basketball team. Not because of me, I was on the team, and I did look good in uniform. We had a real good team. We won 21 in a row, won the clock tournament, won this, won that. No one acknowledged us. Now today you see kids they get trophies and jackets and everything. No, we didn't get a thing. But the Rotary got us jackets. And we'll never forget that. They used to meet at Howard Johnson's, which is now where Walgreens is right now, and they surprised us with jackets. They gave us a dinner, and they gave us jackets. And let me tell you, I still have the jacket, by the way. I still have it. That made me feel so good that they would think enough of us to do that. And I will never forget that. So I want to say that about the Rotary. You know, it's kind of weird. When I was in high school, I didn't really like English. In fact, I used to kind of avoid it, but Mrs. Lucci made sure I was always in class. But I did enough to get by. I was more of a history, geography, as the kids, Shrewsbury High kids know, I'm more history and geography. English, math, I did enough to get by, but I wasn't going to go crazy on it. And here I am, writing a book. I can't believe it. I'm thinking, wait a minute now, I got to go back to my English grammar. Should I put a conjunction here? Do I put a pronoun? I use a noun there. Should I do what should I do? Should I, and every time I read it, I say, that doesn't sound good. I'd have to write it again. And I'd rip it up, and the kids used to laugh at me, because sometimes I'd write it in class while they're doing their assignment, and I'd write it in freehand on yellow paper with an eraser on my pencil. And Mr. G, what are you doing? Get an iPad or something. Hey, I'm an old timer. But I do that now. Now I have one. But anyway, I never thought I'd write a book. Never in my wildest dreams. Well, we'd go to bookstores, my wife and I'd say, you know, I wonder what it would be like if I had something I could really write. But I don't know what to write about. And she said to me, write about what you know. I don't know anything, but I really did. And I started thinking, you know, we'd go for rides and I'd say, you know, we did this over here. And these buddies of mine did this over here. My father did this over here. She said to me, write it down. Because if you don't write it down, it's going to get lost and no one's ever going to know. And I'd say, who cares? She said, you don't know who cares. You don't know what people want to read. So I started writing. I coached basketball in Westboro. So before we could get on the court, we had an hour to kill. I had the kids right there. I wrote an outline, different parts of growing up as a kid. The way I saw the world. It's not so much about me as the time. So I started writing. And I had to get to about 10 chapters. I said, how much more am I going to write? Well, you know what? It ended up being 27 chapters. I just finished my second book, which is 35 chapters. I could go more. And the reason I did this, because a bunch of us guys meet together every Tuesday at Panera Bread. That's why you Shrewsbury High kids never see me on Tuesdays. I meet the guys at Panera Bread. We all grew up right down by Spags. It was a big Italian neighborhood. Grapevines, gardens. Everybody spoke with an accent, except for us. And it was a great time. It was the best time, we think, in history to be a kid, and I'll tell you why. World War II was over. Korea was over. Vietnam was years away. It was peacetime. We could go up the field every day. You know what we used to do? We get on our bikes, put our baseball glove over the handlebar, put a kid on the crossbar, and ride up to the field. And we get to the field, no adults, and we make our own teams. That's what we do. Sometimes you may have an argument over who was safe and who was out. Whoever yelled the loudest, they're the ones who got the call. But next thing, you better give us the call, because we gave you the last inning. It was the best time to be a kid. We could go swimming down the lake. You know, when I substitute teach here, I look out the window sometimes the last period of the day, and I see all the cars lined up to pick the kids up. You think they picked us up? Well, I had one car anyway. Who's going to pick me up? I distinctly remember my dad. My dad grew up on Shrewsbury Street. Tough guy, good guy. And see, this is what you have to understand. I'm sure you do. Our parents, I'm the baby boomer generation. Our parents were the World War II people, the greatest generation. They did, we have today because of what they did. And you know what else? The guys that served in World War II, the World War II veterans, were hard guys. But we knew they loved us. They're going to show it. You think my father ever said to me, "I'm here, son. I want to, you have a problem? Let's talk it over." Yeah, okay. Yeah. Get out of here, he said to me. But if I needed something, he was there for me. I knew he loved me. He was going to say it. Like my mother said to my father one time, I'll never forget this. She says, "Why don't you tell me you love me?" She said to my father. My father said, "What do I have to tell you for? You know I do." But that's hugs. They say Italian people are always hugging. I never got a hug in my life. I mean, it was understood, but the neighborhood was great. If you were out too late or something, somebody would tell your parents. And I distinctly remember one time, we were sitting down by well, we used to call it Howard Johnson's, which is now Walgreens, and one of the kids had some firecrackers on. It was a Sunday afternoon, the 4th of July. There were 7 of us. He threw the firecrackers out. A policeman jumped out from the bushes, and he said, "All 7 of you, up the station." We had 7 of us sit in the backseat of a police car, go up to the station, up the center of town. You know what our punishment was? "Yeah," he said, the chief said, "I'm going to punish you. I'm taking your firecrackers away. I'm going to make you walk back down the lake." That was our punishment. But when I see people, all these kids getting picked up today, and mothers waiting with their kids at bus stops, it kind of makes me sad. Because we used to have fun at the bus stops. We had 15, 20 kids at the bus stop. It was a great time. And in school, you're not going to believe this. I'm in 4th grade now. Mrs. Curley was my teacher. Now I'm going to explain what she looked like, okay? You know George Washington on a dollar bill? That's what she looked like. All right? And we were wise guys. I know you can't picture that. We were wise guys. All right? Now, you won't believe, every Friday afternoon, every Friday, it's like clockwork, she had a spelling bee. And if you want a spelling bee, you got a shiny new quarter. I wanted that quarter so bad. But the problem was, my cousin was in class, and he was brilliant. There's no way. He won every quarter, every Friday. But spelling was my thing. I was a good speller. So this one particular time, we're having a spelling bee on Friday afternoon. He gets out on an easy word. He made a mistake. "I'm in. I'm getting this quarter, baby." Okay? Now, there's about 4 kids left. Mrs. Curley says, "Well, the bell rang." She says, "Well, let's get ready for dismissal. We'll finish this on Monday." You think we ever finished that? We never finished that. My one time to get the quarter, and I couldn't finish. We didn't finish. That really irked me. And another time, Mrs. Curley. Now again, I'm not saying I was the best student in the world. And the teachers would always say to my parents, "He's got a good head on his shoulders if he'd only apply himself." I thought school was fun. I wasn't bad. I just liked to have fun. So you know what she did? Something that's not done today. She kept us back. We stayed back. 3 of us. Dominic, Butchie, and I. Right? I remember going up to this was the next to last day of school. And the report card said, it's 4th grade now. This pupil will report in September to grade 5, supposedly. Well, she called me up, "Young man, get up there, young man, young man." So I go up to the desk and she goes, "See what you, see? And it said grade 4. I can't believe it, she did it. She did it, she kept me back. So I go home. I'm home. I told my mother, "Oh, that was another Donnybrook, right?" So the next day my mother says to me, "Be real good today in school. Maybe she'll change her mind." She didn't change her mind, but let me tell you something. And this is the truth. All summer, I played Little League. All summer, I didn't want to go back to school. I was so shook up by her keeping me back. I deserved it. But in those days, they didn't keep you back because you couldn't do the work. I mean, that was one of the reasons. They kept you back to teach you a lesson. We'll show this kid, he wants to fool around my class. And do you think for 1 minute any one of our mothers called and questioned him? No. Because you know why? Teacher said you stay back, you stay back. So my mother shows my father the report card. He looks at it. My mother, "What do you do about this guy?" Let's see, he got B and C in conduct, he got C in effort. He's trying a little bit. He's just dumb. The guy's dumb. That's the support I got from my father, right? Simple answer for everything. But that's the way it was. So getting back to all summer, I didn't want to go back to school. I didn't. I was afraid. Now I'm going to be with the little kids. I'm going to be with the third graders. I'm supposed to be in the 5th grade. No. So now we get we get the last Little League game of the season. And I'll never forget this. The manager says, now, the game was over. We're all sitting on the bench. I'm 9 years old. Everybody passing school? I didn't say a word. I sat at the end of the bench like this. He says, that's good, because we don't want any flunkies on our team. Woo! 20 years later, I saw the manager. I said, you know, Mr. So-and-so, I stayed back then. It's been bothering me for 20 years, and I never said anything. Don't worry about it, he said, no big deal. But that's how traumatic it was. And when school started, in September, when school started, this is the truth. I thought I was going to have a breakdown. I wanted to run out of that school, so I didn't want to be there. I wanted to run home. The only thing that kept me there, which he got sent to Coolidge School, but Dominic was still there with me. I just kept saying to myself, Donnie's still here. If he can be here, you could be here. And that's how I got through it. But that's what they did back then. I think there was like, I was in the class of 68. I think there was maybe 10 of us. It should have been in the class of 67. But that's the way it was back then. And this is kind of what I write about. But to talk to you kids that are writing now, that's why I want to get on. Think about this. When you write, and when I write, you're taking someone and putting them in a different time. You're putting them in a different place. You're letting them, it's like, you go to a movie, you forget your troubles, and you watch the movie. When I was writing this book, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking of the smells and the sounds. I'm thinking of White City Amusement Park when I was a kid going down there. I'm thinking of the cotton candy, how it used to smell, and they used to turn it around in the machine, and the bump cars and everything. And I'm trying to explain it in the book so that when people read it, when you kids read it, you'll feel what we felt. And people that are my age, or around my age, you think of your own childhood. Think of where you grew up, the amusement parks you went to, the things you did. That's what I want. And when people come up to me and say, you brought back a lot of memories. You know that guy Butchie that stayed back with me? He bought a book on Amazon, and you know what he did? He called me up. And he says, I'm enjoying your book. I mean, you can read it one night. It's not that difficult. I said, did you finish? He said, no. I said, why? I'm only reading a little bit at a time. I said, why? He said, because I want it to last. Because what I did was I put him back. I put him back into when we were kids. And he didn't want to leave that particular time. Because like I said before, I'm afraid for my grandchildren. I'm afraid for these kids. But these are the guys that are going to change us. They're going to change. These kids are going to, and I see these kids in school, and I'll tell you right now, they renew my faith in the adults of tomorrow. Because there's some real nice kids in this school, and sharp too. And I just enjoy coming in here every day and being with the kids. Because I tease them once in a while. They're all right, you know. But getting back to the other thing, and I'll end quickly because I know you don't want to listen to me anymore. Make sure I get everything I want to say here. Another thing too, you have to look at it this way. I've been a photographer for 40 years, okay? If people would come in for a wedding, and the guy, and the prospective bride, and they sit there and say to me, and the guy would say, what do we need pictures for? We're only going to throw them in the drawer. We're not going to look at them. But you know what? When you look at those pictures, you may throw them in the drawer, but when you put them back out again, that entertains you. For that moment you're looking at the pictures, it puts you in a different time. And that's what happens when you write. You put somebody in a different time. And if you can do that by explanations, adjectives, adverbs, whatever you have to use, you accomplish what you set out to. Because that's what you're doing. You're taking someone out of their moment and putting them in a different time. And that's the whole idea of writing. So, in ending, I'd just like to say that keep up the good work. Keep doing what you're doing. Because I never thought I'd be here doing this. I was going to be a teacher, I ended up a photographer, now I'm a writer. I can't believe it. It's phenomenal. I just enjoy it when people tell me how much they love the book. It's like a rush. I never thought I'd write. Are you kidding me? I could barely spell my name when I was a kid, my long name. Anyway, keep up the good work, and we'll see you, and we'll look for your works. Okay?
Very inspirational. Someday, I hope some of you folks will be up here telling your stories too. Right now, I'd like to call Canna to introduce two of the writers from Seven Hills who are going to read their works. I'm not Seven Hills, I'm sorry, Evan Kelly. That's okay.
So I would like to have Jin Im, Bryn Hollow, and Sarah Heil up to read their works for me, please.
I am Sarah Heil, and this is my story. Happy birthday to you two. Happy birthday to you two. Happy birthday, dear Seth and Alice. Happy birthday to you two. I woke up and ran to my singing dad. Our room was a mess, so it was pretty hard to run towards him. I kind of just jumped over clothes and boxes and landed into his arms. I didn't care if I was 15 years old. I loved how Dad would sing to us every birthday. My brother, on the other hand, thought he was getting too old for it. As my dad was singing the song, Seth pulled the covers over his blonde-haired head and tried to fall back asleep. My dad and I gave each other a look, and we both know what to do. We ran over onto Seth's bed and jumped. Every year is the same thing for Seth. He never seemed like he enjoyed his birthday. Seth, come on, it's our birthday. You know what that means, I shouted at the top of my lungs. His head peeked out a little bit, as if he knew what was coming, but wanted to make sure it wasn't a trap. Mom is making you guys her birthday pancakes, Dad said. Seth immediately got up. His golden hair in a mess, but it was still good enough to make it look like he fixed it already. I was always jealous about his hair. It was so perfect in that extent. Birthday pancakes. His emerald eyes were wide awake now. He loved the birthday pancakes almost as much as me. Why are we still in here then? He tried to get out of bed, but his feet were stuck in the blankets. Dad and I helped him get out of the blanket crisis. We ran down the stairs, and the only noise that could be heard was us continuously screaming pancakes at the top of our lungs. As soon as we got to the kitchen, our mom smiled at us both. What type of monsters are running through my house? Pancake monsters, I shouted. Seth just stood there looking at me sheepishly. I nudged him, and he said it quietly. Good thing we have some pancakes on the dining room table, she nodded her head to the table. Seth and I ran to the table and grabbed all the pancakes that we could. So, what do you two want to do today? Mom asked as she was sipping out of her coffee mug. I don't know about Seth, but I want to. I woke up from my dream. Not because I wanted to, but because someone was jumping on my bed. Allie, wake up. Seth, what are you doing? I asked as I was trying to kick him off my bed. It's our birthday, he exclaimed. I just sighed in exhaustion. I knew he was trying to make me feel better. Ever since our parents had gone to work overseas, I haven't been my happy self. This was our first birthday without our parents. Seth was doing everything in his power to make me happy. For the entire year, our parents told us they would be here for the special holidays, including our birthday. However, yesterday, our parents called to tell us that they wouldn't make it today. I pretended that I was fine, but after they hung up, I went into my room and didn't come out. Seth tried to make me eat something for dinner, but I was too heartbroken. I stayed in there all night, and now it was the dreaded day that I used to love every year. Seth was pulling me out of the bed, literally pulling me by the arm to get me out of the bed. Sadly, he's on the football team, so he easily pulled me off the bed. Seth, what is so important? You had to drag me out of my bed at 8:30 in the morning, I asked, looking at my alarm clock. I need to show you something. We walked downstairs and into the kitchen. Instead of the clean kitchen that I was so used to seeing, it was a mess. There was batter everywhere. He even managed to get it on the ceiling. There were pots, pans, spoons, forks, knives, everything out in the open. The blender was semi-empty, although it didn't look like Seth emptied it on purpose. That was probably why there was batter on the ceiling. There was a burning smell in the air that I should have noticed before. What I also should have noticed before was how messy Seth was, and that was in front of me looking as sheepishly as he did in my dream when he had to say pancake monsters. What happened? Did you murder a cake or something? I asked, a little smile dancing on my face. Pancakes, actually. I tried to make Mom's special birthday pancakes, but it didn't work as well as I planned. Could you help me make them? As Seth said this, I thought about something that I probably should have thought about as soon as my parents left. Seth was still here for me. He never left me, and he probably never will. Even when I was sad as I'd ever been, and I didn't feel any hope, Seth was there for me. I still have my family ritual, it just has 2 people less. Sure, there's one ingredient you are missing though. I walked over to the decoration cabinet and grabbed a container. Sprinkles. All right, so what's the first step, boss? Seth said as he saluted me. All right, first we start with this. I wrapped my arms around him and gave him the biggest hug I could. Thank you for being there for me when I need you the most. Isn't that what family is for? He smiled at me and messed up my hair with his hand. Happy birthday, Seth. Happy birthday, Abby.
Hi, can you hear me fine? Yeah. Okay, great. Oh, thank you. So my name is Jen, and I have somewhat of a poem for you tonight. This poem stems from a darker time in my life. I'm all great now, so things are happy, but I hope you enjoy it. It's called My Eyes. From a teenager's eyes, I will go on to something greater, better. My future is bright, as long as I work for it. I can be whoever I want to be, and whatever I want to be. These thoughts cycle through my mind as I find myself trapped, in a place of hardship and trouble, feeling as if those words are but a lie, told to us by our parents because they themselves cannot accept the truth, that life will be no different 10 years from now, that the chain reaction of physical poverty to mental poverty is the reality of our existence. This conflict, more internal than not, is confusing. Is this feeling of hopelessness and nothing just out of a teenager's dramatic interpretation? I find myself many times belittling the problems that arise in my short lifetime, ignoring them as they must be nothing. I'm a teenager. I don't have real problems. 39 years later, I sit in this room, this bland room, accompanied by nothing but a stranger and a place to sleep, potentially being suffocated by cold steel, realizing I was right. Life would get no better, but instead fall apart even more, as each time I ignored that false, dramatic, unimportant misery, I lost myself. Pieces of me chipped away, insanity not so slowly took the wheel, and darkness followed. So here I sit alone in my world of nothing, wishing I took myself seriously, wishing that through my teenage eyes I understood the weight, the seriousness, the power that suppressing, ignoring would have on my grip on the world. From my eyes now.
Sally Maloney, would you introduce the Doherty High School students?
The 2 students from Doherty who will be speaking are Evangelia Karaboulis and Justin Hallett.
Hello. So, can you guys hear me well, right? So, it's on page 87. If you guys want to look. And it's, sorry, my Greek identity. The sun is rising high above the mountains of Greece. I smell the fresh bread baking, and I can almost taste it from the aroma in the air. I can clearly hear locals yelling, trying to sell their fruit at the fruit market. I also hear the drunk man asking if I have a broken washing machine to sell him. I see beautiful churches on every corner of the street and the ocean in the distance. Greece is a place that will always have a special place in my heart. My experiences in Greece and my supportive family have made me grateful for the way my life is today, and I could not imagine my life any differently. My family is my source of strength. They are my gems. My grandfather has especially made a large impact on my life. He has taught me the essentials of life, as he has shown me how to be a humble and loving person and to love and care for the more important things in life. He showed me that life is not about materialistic things. My grandpa not only taught me about morals and values, but he has also taught me how to enjoy the simpler tasks in life. Not every young woman knows how to clean dandelion grass to eat or how to plant tomatoes. He also taught me how to read and speak the Greek language fluently. I'm grateful to have my grandfather and his wise words and gifts. My grandpa told me always to leave people's homes before they would get bored of me. His reasoning behind this is he wanted me to learn to respect others in their homes. He wanted me to understand it is fine to visit people, however not to take over their time. My grandpa would probably have an anxiety attack if I stayed at someone's house for more than 3 hours. The saying permanently resonates in my head. Every time I visit someone, I always return to my Greek upbringings. I think maybe they are getting tired and I should leave. Maybe their parents work in the morning. I notice many Greek people are willing to help anyone, even at their lowest points. Living by example, I have made myself available to help others, and I have dedicated my life volunteering in any church event that could help to better another. When I see the impact of my volunteerism, it brings me a great deal of joy. An expression of one's face, who I have helped out, is really what warms my heart. Even if it's just to help out a friend, my Greek heritage has taught me to lend a helping hand. I'm a person who can be overwhelmed with work, and I will still say yes to help someone out. Traveling recently to Greece made me realize that one does not need materialistic things in life in order to enjoy it. People that live in villages with limited resources have humbled me. They have taught me to appreciate, value the life that God has granted me. I have been blessed with so much in my life, such as resources and great opportunities that have shaped my identity. I have my family to thank and my experiences in Greece for teaching me the values of life and for helping me appreciate what I have been given. The most valuable blessings is being granted to live a life as a proud Greek who will always embrace her culture.
Hi everyone, my name is Justin, and this is my story about a simple day camp. The word indescribable yields numerous meanings and is all too often overused within our culture. Something as simple as a new hit single by some mindless pop star, or even a really good meal, can easily be written off as indescribable. Yet the things often labeled as such are all too commonly described with immense ease. What I consider to be truly ineffable was my experience working in an inner-city day camp as a volunteer counselor. The face of an 8-year-old refugee looking up at me with a tear rolling down his cheek, as the best 2 weeks of his childhood are swept away. The sparkle of joy in two brothers' eyes as they partake in even the simplest of tasks, such as laying in my lap playing Flappy Bird. A young girl who has no one to take care of her or love her, sprinting into my arms for hugs I happily give. These are the things for which words do no justice. I can tell people of my stories and how 2 simple weeks can change my life, but no one will ever understand until they experience it themselves. I started out at Calumet Urban Day Camp as a volunteer CIT when asked by a family friend. Within the first hour, I was pushing a death cart through a field of children wielding pool noodles, all the while being introduced to a whole new world. There is no work more rewarding than that which deals with children. The children I have the pleasure of working with each year grow up in unstable homes, foster care, and countries engrossed in war. Working at Calumet has gifted me an amazing opportunity to lift the veil I am subject to as a white American male and see the world for the first time. I had never before witnessed the atrocities of war as it rips apart families and destroys a child's innocence. The campers are part of a refugee program, Centria, which houses refugee families for up to 6 weeks. Those children who spend 2 of those weeks at this day camp will never return again. They will be forced back into the system as their parents work away their lives in an attempt to stay afloat and keep custody. These precious children, who each year I adore, break my heart as they hug me goodbye and give me the look that we both understand to be an unmeasurable gratefulness for the first time we give to each other. I know what they must return to, and although it would be easier to walk away, I feel the reality of their deep torment, which I hope to carry with me in the future. It is the emotional attachment with the campers that contributes to me reevaluating my life each year. I hold a newfound appreciation for each simple thing I own or place I go. I live a simple life overlooked in America, as the children all over the world can't even dream of the opportunities I'm granted. I admire these children because they teach me more in 2 weeks than I learned in years of schooling. I am exposed to a wide variety of cultures, such as genuine Swahili dance routine I became accustomed with while being taught important life lessons. I've learned how to care for children while also giving them space and freedom that every young heart deserves. I have a new understanding of respect and courtesy that can only be learned by attempting communication with a 6-year-old who doesn't speak any English. I've learned that everyone has a history, and I need to understand and appreciate each person as a part of that, just as this camp will always be a part of me.
Okay, Carla Evers, would you please come forward and introduce the Grafton authors?
I'm going to do a little something different and tell you a little bit about our 2 readers tonight, if I can get my phone to work. So I asked their teachers to tell me a little bit about each of them in terms of a writer. I also have Anthony Mirando, one of their teachers, here with me tonight, and we're so proud of them. So if Zeta and Davina could come up. Come on up. Zeta Waters is a humorous, creative freshman at Grafton High. She took her creative writing this year and has written many interesting pieces. After school, she's involved with the GSA and theater. She loves sharing her writing with others because she enjoys seeing their reaction to what she has written. Davina Premraj is a hardworking sophomore who enjoys writing creatively. She submitted the piece you are about to hear because she's been working on it for a while and wanted to share it with others. In her spare time, she plays tennis. So maybe we can start with Davina.
So I wrote a poem that's titled Heartbeats. Layers of hidden secrets only I will ever know. Each beat counting another second we have marked into history. Impressed into time like footprints on a sandy beach. Waiting for the shore to pull us in. Lead with your actions and your heart, they said. Think with your heart over your brain, they said. Let the uncertainty of life string you along a battered timeline. The layers of the heart. Imagine the clouds floating in the air, they said. The world is like that, they said. Like magical pillows to sleep on, to rest the wandering eyes and close the mind. The birds chirping a new language yet to be discovered. The starry night projecting constellations and visions of a peaceful tomorrow. The grass, soft beneath and worn down, giving us new life. The hands mutually linked for life. The trees, hidden portals for magical wildlife. The people, like secret passages that could only be opened with a key. The tired hands that still love this worn-out world. The watercolors all mixing together in a lively blend of a picture. The artist. The brush, painting our strokes, painting us, our choices, my choices. The life all shown in a masterpiece of art on show for nobody but me, they said. Looking at it through the stained glass, linked hand to hand, all of it. I pressed my palm up against it, but I don't believe these lies. Imagine a world better than this. A world to live a life better than this. A world to set yourself free. I wrote this poem called May, as in like a person, not the month. Blonde hair, dry ends, freckles and short hair, blue eyes, big heart, new tone, sidecar. And she says she's healthy on the daily, making money and grazing, all she's got left in her coat pocket. And she thinks new friends are essential, skipping school and thinking she's got everything in this world to lose. She waits and waits for this day to come, waiting for some lonesome love song. She can't remember not to try. She's been lied to and lied to. Isn't it funny how her word collided with a friend behind the door? Lower voice, heartache, tan tears, and daybreak, lace shorts, black bra, no church or guitar. And they say she's slowly burning and wasting everything she's made for, burned out, stated hard, looking for a better life. And she thinks the other road was made for her, the one away from everything she ever loved. She left her girlfriend behind, weeping in her knees, begging the past to stay. 80 years old and alone in her house, her life would fall apart the minute she stepped out, so she smiled on a grin and didn't show her ready frown, but simply let go of her cigarette, picked up her gin, and watched it burn and fall to the ground.
So last but not least is Shrewsbury. There are many more students involved from Shrewsbury than the other schools. So I asked Nick to nominate 3 people to read, please.
So would Nana Venkatesan, Jamie Way, and Elliot Larkin please come up to read your pieces?
I'm Nandana, and my piece is on page 5. I fell into a long, black ditch, not knowing what happened, oblivious, scared, cold. I hear echoes from above. You're okay. You're beautiful. You'll get help. These murmuring angels watch me from above. Then they got tired of believing in me. I was blessed and left alone in the ditch, in need of Nepenthes, wishing for it all to go, wishing to watch where I was going, wishing there was a trampoline to help me from scarring, while I fell onto the cold ground. I rubbed my hands together to keep warm. Every genuine smile creates a piece of ladder. Took some time. Tick, tock. 1 year later, I'm almost at the surface, my dangling feet and my hand clinging to the edge. I have a taste of the fresh air while I'm struggling to not fall back down. Tears of joy trail down my face. I am so close, I say. The monster from my head comes to life and is stepping on my hands. Get back down. Its resonant voice keeps haunting me, repeating and repeating. I stare into its eyes. They were like a mirror. I saw myself broken and bruised. I'm above the pit, standing in front of the monster. I walk past, turned around. It's not visible anymore. It's hidden in me. To keep it from growing, I don't feed it. It feeds on negativity. It's still there, but I control it.
Hi, my name's Jamie. I'm a senior here, so 39 more days. I wrote a short story. It's called Close Reading. It's on page 16, and I wrote this back in the fall when it was like we were all applying to college. It was really stressful, and like grades actually mattered. So, yeah, here we go. During my free period, Maura stops listening to her music long enough to ask me for help with related rates. An inverted cone of height 10 centimeters and radius 3 centimeters is being filled with water at a rate of 5 cubic centimeters per second. How fast is the height of the water changing when the radius is 2 centimeters? I don't know why she's consulting me, because there are people much more well-versed in the realm of mathematics than I am. I'm more of a writer than anything else. My job is to take note of everything that happens around me and then add context to make it all more interesting. I tell her to try the problem herself before asking me how to do it, partly because it's a good teaching strategy, but mostly because I have no idea where to start. She thinks for a minute or two, 2 fingers pressed to her temple, staring intensely at the paper as if the numbers were rearranging themselves in her mind. Finally, she shouts, "I don't know," so loud half the media center can hear. Sometimes I think Maura wants attention or validation or some other 3+ syllable word ending in shun. She's really loud, and everything she says is accompanied by some dramatic movement, a flurry of the hands, a flipping of the table, or just plain flipping somebody off. I've been telling her that she should consider theater, but she maintains that actors are liars, and she is not a liar. I think you should use the volume formula I offer. She ignores my suggestion and slaps the paper with the back of her hand. Why would I ever need to know that she says stuffing a piece of chocolate into her mouth? Maura is unimaginative. Maybe the inverted cone is a paper cup, like the ones I used to drink from when I did cross country. Maybe it's imperative to know when it will be full because there's a long line of runners and only one water cooler. It's okay, the test only counts for half your quarter grade, I tell her. She brightens up at that thought, throws up her hands and says, "Guess I'll die," then fits the earbuds into her ears again. Maura is an expert in making suicidal non sequiturs and comparing her grades to the beat drop in the song she's listening to. Her highs are high and her lows, boy are they low. Everyone knows when she's having a bad day because her cynicism is contagious. I like to assume the third-person omniscient role sometimes. You know, like in those books where the narrator knows what all of the characters are thinking, but his only job is to tell the story. It's a passive kind of dramatic irony, and I love it. I can distance myself from any situation whenever I feel like it, so I do it now. I think about how a bad grade in calculus will mean nothing in a year, how the college you went to will mean nothing in a couple more, and how wherever I end up, no one seems to care about anything that matters. Exhibit A is right in front of me, nodding along to some explicit version of some song. She's so worried about one chapter while I'm reviewing the whole book. Maura yanks her earbuds out to take another crack at the inverted cone problem. She stations herself at the edge of her seat, rolls her sleeves up as if she's about to perform a feat of physical labor, then rethinks it and rolls them back down over her wrists. Her forehead gets all scrunched up and her pencil hovers over the paper for a record 2 minutes, and for a second she looks so earnest I almost want to help her. Then she collapses back onto her chair. I give up, she announces. It's fine, I say, disappointed with the anticlimactic effort. There's always a rework. What's the point? I won't get into college anyway, she confesses to everyone within a 50-foot radius. She peels back some tinfoil to expose another row of chocolate pieces and retreats into her explicit music. I blink at her. Dramatic irony is torturous. But then there are those books that really make you think twice. You chug along thinking you know everything just to have one plot twist tear it all down for you. You feel betrayed, but then you go back and realize the book never lied to you, not once. I start drawing a stick figure on Maura's notebook since she's not using it anymore. She spots me defacing her graph paper and says, "No, stop, erase that," and swats my hand away. "Erase yourself," I reply, because I don't think she can hear me through the music. But then she says, "Don't think I haven't tried."
Hi, I'm Aaliyah Larkin, and it's page 56, notes to a couple I saw walking down the street. Him, whose name I do not know, but imagine it is a name that takes up space, had a bulbous, protruding stomach. Walked beside her with twig-like features. And he had tinted glasses, creating a bug-eyed view. And she had unerasable dark circles beneath her eyes. And not to mention his khaki shorts that could not be pulled over a shameful stomach, created from years of gluttony. But her poor self was shrouded in an unrecognizable shade of pink that could not hide her protruding ribs. Yet, upon her ankle lay a dragon that could not ever leave her.
Fantastic. Isn't that fun? Could we ask the 4 faculty members to please come back up for just a moment? Just making sure we have all 4. We just want to do something to show our appreciation to them for really being our honchos on campus. So this is just a thank you from the Rotary clubs to the people that facilitated making it happen. The last thing on our script says, congratulations to all the authors. You are now officially published. So thank you all for coming, and drive safely on your way home.
Thank you all